Ice cream. No.
This way then, guys.
In one generation alone, the proportion of children playing in the wild has fallen from just over half to now only 1 in 10 who regularly play in wild spaces outside. As Sir David Attenborough said, nobody is going to protect the natural world unless they understand it. And at Little Forest Folk, that's what we set out to do, to give people that understanding of the natural world so that they will engender a love and respect and understanding of it and therefore protect it. We believe that children have a right to a deep and regular connection with nature, that they have the right to experience the freedom and the adventure that only playing outdoors in nature can provide. Our forest environments are precious to us. They're our learning environment, they're our inspiration, they are the third teacher for the children. They allow kids to run free, to be wild, to climb, to dig, to run, to balance, to explore. They're incredibly important to what we do, and as such, we want to protect it and also make sure that the children in our care start to understand that it's important to protect this resource. So how do we select our green spaces? Well, I mean, first of all, you have to admit we're never going to find a perfect green space, but there are so many green wild sites in cities and you just have to have a look at what you can get and then make the most of it. If we waited to find the absolutely perfect spot, we'd never get anywhere. So the essential components to our environment, the main thing is trees, preferably deciduous trees with lots of lovely leaves that fall down in the autumn for the kids to run and play and roll in. And then that leads on to things like mini beasts and little plants and moss and insects. So trees are the most important thing, and kids can identify with trees. They love climbing trees. So I think that's the key part of what we look for when we're trying to create a forest nursery. Another really important thing is mud. Kids love mud. Even children who have a phobia of getting their hands dirty, after a few weeks, just can't help but get themselves immersed in mud. My son comes home covered in mud, and they're often the happiest days he has in the forest. So we try to minimise the number of resources that we take into the forest. We mainly use the outdoor environment, but we do bring in props to help stimulate curiosity and scaffold the play. If there's a particular interest in something, we can bring in some props, some resources to help encourage that learning. But generally, you keep it simple. Things like rope swings, things like slack lines, things that encourage climbing, balance, coordination. We have used hand tools to make different objects, but some of the best days are resource-free days where we just let the kids run, explore, see what they're interested in, and just play. If you take kids outdoors and just offer them the same resources that you would in an indoor classroom, i.e. if you essentially just take the roof off your classroom, you can't expect to get a different outcome. If you really want the kids to start to learn about the natural world, you do have to let them lead the learning, let them engage and let them develop a sense of awe and wonder about how and why, and look for the little things, the little investigations, the things that adults have probably forgot to notice. Kids can get right down low and engage with these things and start learning about the world.
He's camouflage, isn't he?
I think he's looking for food.
He is probably.
We want them to have freedom to take as long as they need to measure rain falling from the sky, to jump in muddy puddles, to figure out what the diameter of a tree is, to count how many spots are on that ladybird.
That's a fly.
Where's the fly? Another
Another ladybird.
baby bird. That's a baby bird.
Another one. Can you count his spots?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where's his face?
I think his face is right there. You see the little white?
Yeah.
I think that's where his face is. It is hard to tell because they're very round.
Where's his mouth gone?
I think his mouth is under his chin. Yeah, under his face there. Oh! There's his face! It popped out! There we go.
One thing that's really important when you have your forest setting is to know what sort of plants and even animals you have on the site. So we commission flora surveys. We know where the dangerous plants are, where the berries, when they're in season, areas where there might be things like daffodil bulbs that the children shouldn't dig around, just so that the staff are aware. And also, as importantly, that the children are aware, that they're learning about the natural world. They know, oh, you know, I better not touch that caterpillar. Oh, at this time of year, those berries come out and I shouldn't eat them because I'll get a sore tummy. And these are the sort of things that have been passed from generation to generation for thousands of years, and they're just being lost. And I think it's important that kids are aware of them, that they can understand the natural environment. And to do that, you need to know what's on the site. So get yourself a flora survey, map it out, and share it with your staff so everyone knows about it and they can teach. Another thing about the natural environment is the unexpected surprises or difficulties that you face after you open or during your negotiations to try and find a site. With us, there's been a lot of talk with other local users. So we've spoken to the local dog walkers, we've spoken to local residents, and it's all about communication and trying to form partnerships and getting buy-in from people. At the end of the day, we're just trying to get kids outside. We're just trying to get them back to have a childhood they deserve. And it's a pretty hard-hearted individual who won't help you buy into that. But some people don't, and sometimes you've got to change the way that you do things and make concessions. But dialogue and communication are really important.